when you're developing characters, you got to really put yourself in the mindset of the character. Like I was just talking to a person like hit me up on like actually bought Robot Nation, right? So I'm gonna chuck that in the chat. If you, it should be on the street, like in the description, right? But I will put the link there so you guys can check it out. But so he actually bought and read this, right? Our latest comic book is coming to a Kickstarter soon. I put it out because I wanted people to see it, to read it, and to see if they found value in it enough to go and spend money on it, right? Like for physical copy, right? For friggin' proper, something that they would want to own physically and have and show and read and talk about. And so he hit me up directly on like I just got a message on random on DM on Messenger, and I just thought I'll check it out. And so he's talking about, hey, I just bought your I just read Robot Nation. I liked it. There was this thing and there was this thing, and I just said to him, yeah, I said and we're talking about, like I said, what did you think about me for this book, right? Saying it's a mature content book. And he was talking about how, like, it's good to like not make sure that what's in this book isn't getting to kids' hands. It's kind of like I'm abbreviating here, right? Paraphrasing, whatever. And I just said to him, and we're talking about some other stuff, and then I said, look, I don't want anything I do in my books, I don't want to be exploitative, right? There's not exploitation in those stories because I want to treat them like real people. Even though they're fictional, and they're fictional, they're not real, they're not based on anyone. But I said, when you put in something, you put in some experience in there. So I said there was this part where something happens, and the mama bear, where the mother basically turns into mama bear, right? But not in the way you would think. It's just in the way she, is thinking about it. So just, and I've talked about this before, how my mum, and I just basically based that part just on my mum. And so when you're creating characters, you're basically taking from other people and you're putting into that one thing. And so it's kind of it's good to have someone just like outside of my scene, like independent scene, whatever, to basically actually go and buy the comic and read it after I've been talking about it, putting it out, promoting it everywhere, and then like buy it and then come back and hit me up out of the blue and just tell me what he thought of it. And I thought it was cool, and it's like, even if he said it was bad, I would go, oh, okay. And it was balanced, and there was like, some parts he thought it was kind of took him out of it. Like, I've learned my lesson there, and it had to do with something else and not my writing. So yeah, and I think it just gave me some insight into what to do future-wise, and which is what you need. Now, however, modern writers don't want that. They don't want you to tell them, critique their work, because they feel like it's their baby. And like, what we talked about the other day with Shane, so like, you got to kill your babies. There's not, it can't be too precious. But like modern writers in comics, especially in the mainstream, it's too precious to them. They feel like if you critique, then their job's going to go, rather than going, I hear you. Okay, I'll do better. Or maybe I'll change something. Maybe, no, you're wrong. Okay, I understand. Yeah, you weren't getting what I'm saying. And I've had to do that myself. Like, I've had people go, I've got, this is my idea. This is what I've written. I've done it. Say, oh, no, you should put that in. I'm like, no, that's not what this is about. All right, and I'm thinking in my head, if that's what you think, then you should go write your own thing. And then you can do what you want. Because at this moment, it's my thing, and it's my creation, and it's my baby, right? But if you were thinking about something else with like character, all that, that's fine. But if you're trying to have a go at the story, how I should change it to this, no. The story is what the story is. And I know I'm a good writer in the sense because I've had my stuff stolen, right? And I know that my concept, maybe my grammar ain't good or my spelling ain't good, I miss out on. but that's why you've had, you know, people looking over your work. But, you know, you do also have to be gatekeeping on your work, but allow critique, not criticism, critique. Critique is where it tells you, like, hey, this is something here, maybe you think about that. But also, you know, criticisms where people just attack and there's nothing to it apart from like making you feel bad about what you're doing. And that doesn't work because it's just, you know, it's a downer, and that's the sort of stuff you just go, nah, I'm just going to ignore that. Kind of like gaslighting. People think that this is what it is and it isn't. And I want to play something like that. So let me show you something. So this is something, this is not how you behave to criticism, right? So, and this is someone who does this all the time. It's not new. And we're moving over to localizers, right? We're talking about anime localizers now. And of course, this is something that's huge, right? Just as big as a Cat Williams thing. Cat Williams thing is for comics and rappers and all that. This is for anime and manga, right? And so recently, you know, this whole thing popped off, as you guys know. And it's, you know, it's causing a lot of headaches for people in the industry, right? Who, you know, who've been working, getting paid, and who've been doing dirty by the work, like ruining the work. And so here we go. So, and also attacking the fans when they get criticized for changing the work, right? These are localizers, are basically people who take a Japanese story script, you know, and then they turn it into English, and then they pass it on to the voice actors who then go and read what's on the paper, right? So it's not in Japanese anymore, or subtitle ends like that. And or they do that in manga as well. They take it and translate it into, you know, and it's like, you know, people translating job, right? Basically. So this is from Fandom Pulse. Let's just go doing a bit of overview, and let's see. So if it's got the link there, here we go. So if you've like previously, I've played it. You know, I played the video about how now. So I've actually watched the full video, and I've let me just bring that video up. So Asmongold, right? You know, is where it all kind of like got very, very big very quickly, because even though I've been talking about this, you know, and posting about this on my own private stuff channels, I mean, you know, channel, and also Twitter and all that, and also on Instagram, about how this has been happening for the past few years. Actually, for me, it's been like, when I started noticing, it was about 5 years ago, right? And so I'd been, you know, been talking about, hey, this is happening here. This is, why is this? Why are they doing this? This is just ruining the whole story. You know, I wouldn't want my work to be that to happen to my work. So this is like, you know, Rev Says Desu, I think his name is. This is the, you know, the avatar there. So let's play this, and I think we're on this thing there. So you'll see, and I'll put myself away from
crazier and crazier. Now, the war against bad localization.
I know what happened. Let's pop that out, and let's try that again. Here we go. There we go. So are we back on with you guys? Because I had it on mute in between that, so apologies for that. So I'll pop it back up, and we'll get back on, and we'll go there.
Localizer related drama, because this situation keeps getting crazier and crazier. Now, the war against bad localizations and mistranslations will continue for many years to come, but this current battle with localizers seems like it's reaching its climax, because today we're getting a very strange crossover that I don't think anyone saw coming. So yesterday, voice actress and localizer Jamie Marchi made her official response to Asmongold through this TikTok. And as predictable as it might come, it is very, very cringe. And we're going to watch it. But first, let's figure out how we got here. How is this localizer making an official response video to Asmongold over anime localizations?
And of course, Asmongold
a few weeks ago, Asmongold.
The reason why she's doing it is because she can make it about me rather than about what she's doing. So it's like, well, I'm just being attacked by this random guy. It actually has nothing to do with what I'm doing. She's deflecting. Yeah, she's just deflecting. Yeah.
Started making reaction videos to many different videos, including my own, where we were talking about localizers in anime and manga. What began as a conversation about AI potentially replacing localizers evolved into a very big spotlight on the decades of mistranslations that have plagued anime and manga
intentional mistranslations.
Yeah, intentional.
Everybody understands a mistake.
Now, things would keep getting worse because despite what people like Jamie will say, this is an issue that people are really interested in. In fact, it has reached Japanese users, including YouTube videos like this. Now, as many people have pointed out, especially on the Japanese side of things, this issue with English localizations is not well known in Japan. So when
I don't think that people understand, like, and I'm not really an expert on this, right? So I could be wrong, but my understanding is that Japan has a much more conservative culture than we do here in the U.S. So I find it to be kind of ironic that these people who are trying to push, like, like patriarchy stuff, think that they're going to have, people that agree with them in Japan. Absolutely not.
Japanese users are finding out what's happening to Japanese media over in English localizations. They are shocked and offended. I mean, quite predictably, this is vandalism of those Japanese products because these localizers want to insert political messages and Gen Z humor when it's not appropriate. And we're seeing people point this out, that Japanese users really do care. And the message is spreading. We're seeing a lot of tweets like this, both in Japan.
A lot of times people like the person who's doing this thing, they talk about appropriation, appropriation, that you shouldn't appropriate other people's culture. However, these same people who say that are the same people who basically take somebody else's culture and change it, like changing what those characters say. So the worst thing is this. A while back, I found like there was an idol thing, kind of like an idol thing in this anime, right? And it was something like, these zealous, the Japanese translate, language basically said, these zealous fans, these hardcore fans. And the English version was these mouth breathers, right? How? And I was like, wait, and my head just went, my ears just popped, right? I'm like, mouth breathers? There's no way a Japanese creator, writer, mangaka, right? That's what they call comic artists, writers, right? Creatives, mangakas, right? So would say that about fans, because they know fans are their bread and butter. They put money on the table, they buy the merch, they buy their book, right? And that book allows them to actually get deals before it gets turned to, anime and whatever else. And it's kind of sad because the way they're treated over there is not really good. And then these Western localizers, then they go and do that to their work, which is, just piling on, which, feels really bad. It's like what happened with like Jack Kirby, right? And if you look at what happened to Jack Kirby, that's how I feel about what happens to these mangakas when these people do that, right? So, yeah, and so that's why it's, like I've said, for 5 years, I've been posting about this, right? And I've been, taking like little video clips and putting it up and going, look at this. What? There is no reason for there to be in this. Calling fans mouth breathers. This is the way Western people treat fans. This is not the way Japanese people treat fans, because, otaku is what older people call, like geeks and, nerds, the fans, right? And so, and it's, but the but you know, if you're a creator, the last thing you would ever want to do is mistreat a fan in a way that they would turn against you. And basically, when I heard that, I was like, I'm just going to watch the subtitles. I'm you know, multitasking here. Screw that. I'm enjoying this. I think it was zombie dolls or something like that, because that was a pretty cool thing. You know, like dead zombie girls or something like that. They're idols, and they get brought back, and now there's they're trying to keep their arms from falling off and all this stuff and putting on makeup, and that was it. And I was like, wait, why would you do that in the situation? And there was another one where I've mentioned this before. It was Golden Commune, and it was season 1. And the person who was speaking had the back to the screen, right? So you're watching their back. So you're not watching their face or their mouth. You're watching their back. And so basically what happened was they just basically put words in that wasn't even there. And they could get away with it because they didn't even have to make it like lip sync. So let's carry on with this.
Japanese and with accompanying English messages talking about the mistrust that exists in the West for these English localizations. And it's even been shared by popular artists and Japanese accounts like this, including this artist, K-Deco, who drops some absolute bangers, by the way. But the message is spreading, and it's going to places like Japan where it hasn't before.
Yeah.
And part of the issue and why this localization drama continues to keep snowballing and getting further and further is because the localizers who are being criticized won't shut up. They keep digging deeper and deeper holes for themselves by
It's because they have huge egos. That's why. And they think that not only are they right, but they think that they have like a moral mandate. They think that they can tell other people what is and isn't right.
Yeah.
And that's why they have such a big ego.
Thinking about this.
And that's it. So I'm going to stop there. You guys can watch the rest of it. I'll actually grab the link so you guys can, if you decide to watch it, you can watch the rest of that.